Cowboys make roster cuts Saturday, but it's only the beginning as they get ready for the regular season. Ted Madden's in for Dale Hansen tonight. Ted.
Yeah, not everyone who survived cuts yesterday made it past today. Veteran guard Montre Holland was let go, and the Cowboys are reportedly bringing in Garland native Derek Dockery to replace him. Todd Archer from ESPN Dallas will join us and talk about that and a lot of other Cowboy-related issues. And if you're a college football fan, you'll want to see George Reba's behind-the-scenes look at ESPN's College Game Day show. They were in town this weekend for LSU and Oregon. So we'll have that and Rangers highlights coming up in about 1 minute. David?
Okay, thanks, Ted.
Romo shows it to Barber, pulls it back, throws it in the end zone. Touchdown, shot, score, Rita Bible. Spin. Here you go, what a try. Zadinski spins away for the top of the key for the win. It's good at the buzzer. Dallas has won it. The Texas Rangers are American League champions.
This is Dale Hansen's Sports Special, sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
That one sent a long way to center field. It is way out of here. That is a monster blast by Mike Napoli.
Mike Napoli put an exclamation point on a good weekend in Boston. 446 feet on his home run as the Rangers win in Fenway. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ted Madden. After losing 3 of 4 from the Red Sox a week and a half ago, the Rangers have gotten back on track by taking 2 of 3 from the Angels, then Tampa Bay, and now Boston. Matt Harrison got the start after skipping his last one to get some rest, and it paid off. Harrison threw 6 shutout innings before allowing a couple of runs in the 7th, but by then the Rangers had a big lead. They scored 7 times in the 6th inning, but the big number there was 2,000. This single gave Adrian Beltre that many hits in his career, and it helped start a rally. Josh Hamilton provided the big blow with his 3-run triple. They led 9-0 after 6 innings and beat the Red Sox 11-4. The Angels also won, so Texas's lead in the division remains 3.5 games. While the Rangers are hitting the home stretch to their season, the Cowboys are a week away from starting theirs. Todd Archer covers the Cowboys for ESPN Dallas, and he's a guy who can tell us how much of a concern Miles Austin's hamstring injury is going into the opener.
I would say mild. You know, it was a mild hamstring. He tried to come back maybe a little bit too early from it in training camp, tweaked it a little bit. But I think when they get back out there and practice Monday, definitely by Wednesday, he'll be out there and he'll play Sunday against the Jets. No issue there.
Okay. Now behind Miles and Dez Bryant, the wide receiver position is thin. Kevin Ogletree is next in line if he plays. He was just arrested for those outstanding traffic violations. Does he play? Yeah,
he's fine. I think you talk about the league's personal conduct policy. I think, if anything, it's a fine for him, not a suspension of any kind.
After him, it's still thin. How do you like that position in general?
You know, I'm not that bad with it. I know a lot of people are worried about it, and some of it is because it's the 5th option in this offense. You got Jason Witten, Miles Austin, Dez Bryant, Felix Jones. There's your front 4. They're the guys going to catch the bulk of the Romo passes. You need a guy who's going to catch you about 2-3 passes a game. That's Ogletree. Now, you're in a little bit of a world of hurt if you lose Bryant and Austin, but I think they're banking on Romo being able to make a lot of people better in this offense.
Okay, well, today's big news, the Cowboys cut Montre Holland, and then they picked up his replacement, Derek Dockery. He played several years with the Redskins. He's not a rookie, which his offensive line has plenty of, but he is brand new to the Cowboys. Does he start week 1?
No, not week 1. I think he's a guy that has to learn the system, learn the scheme. The coaches need to learn him a little bit, but he's got experience. He started 111 games, and he's a guy who's always around. Montre Holland, the last few years, just when he's ready to play, gets hurt. In this training camp, perfect example, should have been the starter at right guard, gets hurt, and now you got a 7th-round pick. Bill Nagy comes in, and he's the starter.
I think the knee-jerk reaction is to think the Cowboys are starting 2 rookies and a second-year undrafted free agent out of the 5 offensive line positions, so that line's not going to be any good. Is that true or not?
I don't know, and I know you don't want that answer, but you know, look, this will be the first time they've started 2 rookies on an opening day in franchise history, and I said it earlier, I think this is all about Romo. They believe Romo is going to be able to make these guys better, but because he's seen it, he knows it all, he can call out the fronts, he can do a bunch of things, and mainly, he can get rid of the ball fast.
And I do think it's dangerous just to assume they're not going to be any good just because. If they're not any good, they're not any good. We'll see that.
Well, you know what, though? This offensive line, for as many questions that it has, might be better than what Philadelphia has.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, I mean, Philadelphia's starting 2 rookies. This is the dream team, right, in Philly, and you know they have some offensive line woes too.
I was kind of surprised the Cowboys kept 2 kickers. David Beeler will return to his role as kickoff specialist. Dan Bailey will kick the field goals. First with Beeler. if they're going to hold a roster spot for him, does he have to kick every single kickoff into the end zone?
It better be close to that. You know, he better be up there, especially because they moved it up. But I think this is largely about the defense and Rob Ryan. They're still learning this scheme, trying to figure it all out. I think the more you can make an opposing team drive 80 yards, which if that touchback's at the 20, the better off you are as a defense. So I think keeping Beeler for now is more about the defense than it is about the special teams unit.
What about for the long field goals, though? He can also try those.
You know, the strange thing is he has a better percentage from 50 yards than he did from 30 to 39. So, you know, I think you could see him if they're in a situation 50, 55 yards, you'd see Beeler out there, not Bailey.
Now, Bailey is the guy going to be those closer field goals. How do we feel about him?
He had a good camp, but he's not tested. This is going to be, I think, the 10th or 11th kicker the Cowboys have had since 2001. And, you know, you're putting a lot on a rookie, and you have a lot of close games in the NFL. Jason Garrett knows all those stats. We don't know them, but Jason knows them. If this kid misses in week 1, I would think someone else is coming in on week 2.
Well, they kept bringing guys in anyway. I mean, how many guys, you know, Rayner and Shane Graham, we had guys coming in all through camp.
And some of this is an economics thing as well. Graham would make $910,000. Rayner would make $685,000. Dan Bailey's making $375,000. So it's kind of like Ted Madden money.
Well, if you're talking about the lowest guy making the littlest amount of money, then yeah. All right, well, before we leave you, I hate asking for predictions in the NFL just because a missed field goal, an injury, you can go from 10-6 to 6-10. But how do you feel about these Cowboys?
You know, I came into training camp thinking 9-7, and that was before they made all these moves and the cuts that they had to do. I might be at 10-6 because I think Romo makes that big of a difference. A full season of Romo. Now, if he gets hurt, then forget it, and we can erase this tape. But I think, you know, 10-6. I don't think the schedule is that hard. I think they're fighting for a wild card spot. In
the NFL, a good head coach and a good quarterback. I think you start there and you got a chance.
Absolutely. And look, Jason Garrett went 5-3 as the interim with John Kitna and a bunch of backups, and the defense had fallen apart. Romo's back. I think it changes the equation a little bit.
All right, that's Cowboys beat writer Todd Archer from ESPN Dallas. Thanks for coming in.
You got it.
Appreciate it. Their show on Saturday morning is must-see TV for college football fans. Coming up next, George Riebel will find out why ESPN's College Game Day is the best show of its kind.
This is not, you know, a seasonal assignment for us. This is a real deep passion for everybody on the set and everybody behind the scenes associated with the show.
The biggest college football game of the weekend was LSU-Oregon, played in Arlington, and the best brought out the best. ESPN's College Game Day set up just outside Cowboy Stadium for their Saturday morning show. That began their 25th season on the air, and George Riebel went to find out why they're so popular.
ESPN Game Day, baby.
It's people crazy. I'm not as crazy as most people.
It's just after sunrise, yet fans are streaming to Cowboy Stadium. The reason is simple. They're here to start their day with the most popular college football show on television. It's called College Game Day.
Every week when I pull up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning and there's 3,000 kids out there, it still gives me an awesome feeling and still shocks me. What the hell are these people doing out here at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning?
ESPN College Game Day.
We didn't go to bed till 3. I was up at 4. Woohoo! Go Tigers!
But it's those crazy fans that has helped College Game Day enjoy its success. Some fans drove more than 30 hours just to be here.
There's a lot of nothing between here and Oregon, that's for sure.
Welcome to College Game Day. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso celebrating a quarter century. This craziness.
Lee Corso is the only original member of the crew which began broadcasting College Game Day back in 1987. Because of a stroke a year and a half ago, Corso doesn't do many interviews. Chris Fowler has been there almost as long and is starting his 22nd year.
I started in 1990 when I looked about 12 years old. Yeah, so Lee was a veteran of about 3 years, and this was a show that had no profile at all.
But that changed over the years, expanding from 1 hour in those early years to 3 hours today. Kirk Herbstreit is starting his 16th year with the show.
I'm amazed people spend the night before, camp out with tents, to make sure they get a great seat. But I think it just, again, I don't think we on College Game Day look at that and pat ourselves on the back and think, wow, they really love us. I think it's they love our sport. They love, if we were doing this for Major League Baseball or the NFL or the NBA, we wouldn't have people doing this, but with college football, that's how fans are.
My favorite part is just seeing Kirk Herbstreit and Lee Corso, Aaron Andrews. Every game, they recognize us. It's an awesome feeling.
I love hearing our LSU fans chant LSU. My favorite part is the signs, though. I like looking at all the different signs.
My favorite part about game day is everybody's signs and the competitiveness and just seeing which team they pick to win.
Just smiling.
Of course, the College Game Day crew almost seems to travel in style, whether they just want to get out of the heat for a while, get away from the fans, or go inside and pick up on some college football games. This is where they go to hang out.
We got 5 TVs in the back, so I mean, we're no different than fans. You know, the show gets over, sprint to the air conditioning, get to lunch, and just sit back and watch games, and we do that all day.
On this day, the College Game Day crew was joined by Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, who brought along the NBA championship trophy. Baylor quarterback Robert Griffin III drove in from Waco. But it's not the lineup of guests that makes the show, it's the chemistry.
Anybody in any line of work, when you enjoy the people you work with, it comes across, and I think you can see that with us.
We're passionate about the sport. There's nowhere we'd rather be than on a campus for a big game on Saturday. We hope that comes across. We think it does. And this is not, you know, a seasonal assignment for us. This is a real deep passion for everybody on the set and everybody behind the scenes associated with the show. So that's the secret to longevity, just being authentic and having the passion.
Go Tigers!
It certainly looks like a recipe for success. George Reba, Channel 8 Sports in Arlington.
Better lane to throw, and throws it over his intended target. It's picked off once again.
Kyle Padron was benched after Texas A&M picked him off on SMU's first 2 possessions. A&M took advantage. Cyrus Gray from DeSoto powered in to give the Aggies a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. Now, J.J. McDermott replaced Padron at quarterback. His first 2 possessions ended in touchdowns. This one on a pass to Keenan Holman to get SMU within 6 points at 20-14. SMU's offense stalled. A&M kept scoring. Ryan Tannehill had 2 touchdown passes. Aggies win this one 46-14. The Deutsche Bank Classic had a special Labor Day finish coming up tomorrow. Bubba Watson will try to hang on. A birdie on 10 got him as low as 13 under par before 3 bogeys on the back 9 brought him back to the pack. Watson's still the leader at 11 under par, but 23 others are within 4 shots, setting up an exciting final round tomorrow. The U.S. National Water Ski Tournament wrapped up 3 weeks ago just outside Chicago, and the Warner kids both returned home as overall national champions. Like all serious water skiers, Grace and Ryan Warner have grown up on the lake, and all that practice has gotten them to this point. Grace Warner is like a fish out of water. She's been water skiing her whole life. She just won the U.S. Nationals, and then she broke her wrist in an accident unrelated to water skiing.
We went to this other lake last week, and I could barely even stand it because everyone else is skiing, and I was just sitting on the dock.
13-year-old Grace and her 10-year-old brother Ryan are both champions. Ryan won his age group easily, while Grace had a nail biter. She had to wait until the scores were compiled before she knew, and that was nearly an hour after the competition ended.
They posted the scores an hour after I skied, but that whole hour, you know, my mom was trying to get on her calculator and try to calculate the score and stuff, but we weren't completely sure until the score was posted. I didn't really have to do my best. I just couldn't fall early and I would probably win. So it was pretty much just not falling.
Next year, Ryan moves up a class and will be competing with the 10 to 13-year-olds, which means he's going up against older kids, and he's jumping for the first time in a national tournament. Ryan couldn't have a better coach as he learns the jump. Joy Todd Strickland is a national champion and a former record holder in the event.
It's basically like an all-day thing. We don't just come down to the lake for 30 minutes and ski. I mean, you're there all day long. So we get a lot of time on the water.
Together, Joy and the Warners have put a lot of work to get where they are. But who are they kidding? It's not all work. The Texas Rangers play early tomorrow in Tampa Bay. It's a special holiday start time of 12:10. The Rangers are back home Friday to begin a 6-game homestand. The NFL begins Thursday with the Saints and Packers in Green Bay. Then it's a full schedule next Sunday, including the Cowboys playing at the New York Jets. And keep an eye on that situation with the Big 12. A&M is already leaving and others may soon follow. That conference is in trouble. Thanks for watching our show. High School Game Time is next. I'm Ted Madden. Have a good night and enjoy your Labor Day.